soul, physical, and of course also financial. And with me this evening is actually a very good friend of mine, and she was actually the very first people who believed that I could launch my book, Healing the Inner Child. Right, so it's she's the founder of the fastest growing Facebook group, online healing community, and during the pandemic, she also played a very vital role, all right, in helping people deal with the pandemic stress and pandemic anxiety. And so I've witnessed her transformation. I really witnessed a transformation, right? And in a way, we share a similar journey. And so, all right, without much ado, I'm so happy to talk about what fun is it to live with the founder of Online Healing Community, a therapist, a life coach, an access consciousness practitioner as well, an access bars facilitator. Let's give it for Karen.
Hi, June. It's so nice to be here.
It's so
Thank you for having
nice to have
me.
you here. It's so nice to have you here, Karen. So, ayun na nga, okay? We share a pretty similar journey, right? When before it was all this seriousness of finding our highest self, okay, in terms of spirituality, and now your journey is basically just having so much fun, and you are one of my inspirations in terms of really what else is possible in my life, what else can I do in my life aside from maybe sitting in meditation and you know focusing on my breath for for long period of hours.
Yeah.
So Karen, right, would you like, simulan na kagad natin, so how did it all start?
It really started with questions. Like access I was introduced to access consciousness and I really felt that opened a lot of questions for me. Like the my favorite question is who am I today and what grand and glorious adventure will I have today?
I like
And
that.
sometimes the answer is like so far off. Sometimes the answer to that is go to Alfonso Cavite. Sometimes the answer to that is get a fruit from the backyard. And sometimes the answer to that is you can fly, book a flight somewhere. And what I do is I really just follow the energy. Like if people ask me like where are you going? Like at this time, I don't have I don't have an answer because I don't know. Let's see where the energy will bring me. And so living in the question really opened up a lot of possibilities for me. And it's so different from how I usually operate from before. Like you said, both of us we share the same journey, like very structured, very quiet, very zen life, diba? Prior to the transformation and prior to the healing.
Prior to this transformation, and it's really interesting because we all have this idea that to tread on the path of spirituality and in finding our higher self, we'll have to deprive ourselves so much. So, what's your response to that now? What changed in you in reference to that belief system?
I followed that path for a long time, for many years. I followed the path of renunciation, renounce all earthly pleasures, just be spirit, just be soul, don't think of the body. Like I'm really making up to my body just now. Because for the longest time, I was just focusing on the soul. Like I would that's my mantra for the longest time. I'm a soul, I'm a soul, I'm a soul. Which is okay. It's just that I forgot that I'm also a body. And I really felt that right now it should be balanced. That yes, but I'm also a body. Like before the old like I would meditate for hours and hours on end. I can meditate for 4 hours. I can sit down and meditate for like the whole day. And that's the only thing I'll do. I can skip food and I there was a time that I wouldn't even meet friends and family. Like I put so many, but it's really me. It's really my interpretation of spirituality. It's not about the path that I followed. It's not about the community I'm in. It's really about my interpretation. And I felt that spirituality is a path to renunciation, that we renounce everything of this earth and of this world. And later on, like, of course, everybody evolves in the journey. I realized that, you know what, it doesn't have to be like that. As I said, it should be a balance of the body and the spirit. And when it's like that, then I'm ethereal, and at the same time grounded. And I feel it's more practical. Spirituality is more practical that way, because yes, you're a spirit, you're a soul, but you also live in this earth, and you still have a body. So right now, aside from asking, of course, I ask my spirit, I ask my soul what it loves to do, but I also ask my body, like, body, what do you want to wear? And hence, I'm wearing colored clothes because for the longest time, I'm just wearing all white,
Right,
just all
all
white
right.
clothes. And then I ask my body, body, what do you want to eat? And I respond to what my body likes, because before I would only eat vegan, very, very, very strict. And I have set time for sleeping and waking up, and I've set schedule. I everything's so set for me. But now every day is an adventure. That's my question. Who am I today, and what grand and glorious adventure will I have today? And there's just this month I went to Palawan, and we had to go to a far off bundoks, and I was with military people, and we were trekking, like we were trekking the mountain, because I felt, because that's what my body wants to do, that's what my soul wants to do. And so it's really, if you function from that point, there's so many possibilities, there's no limitations really.
All right, and I can relate to that very much because in the past, when I secluded myself, all right, to be in a 10-day meditation from 4 in the morning to 9 in the evening, all right, and you witnessed that journey as well. It was
Yeah, I
all
saw you
about.
went through that.
Yeah, it felt like I wanted to punish my body. That was the mindset at the time. But maybe I should really deprive myself or my body of a lot of things, because maybe that there are a lot of things that I need to purify within my body. And during that time, my body acted out. It was so bad. Okay, when my body acted out, and so when I finally finished the 10-day meditation, it was just there was a lot of headspace, but at the same time, I got to admit, I was lutang. All right, I was lutang, and then also, I ignored the body that I have. All right,
Mm-hmm.
I ignored the body that I have, and so I really like that. What we have learned from Access Consciousness is that we ask a lot of questions. Body, what
Yes.
glorious and what glorious adventure are you going to have today? I think
Today.
that's an eye opener for everybody. And you know what? One of the things that is my favorite also is this: what if the purpose of life is to have fun?
Yeah, I love that too. What if you're here to have fun? Really, yeah, I love that question as well. And also, I enjoy that we can function from choice. Like, you can choose who you can be today. You can choose what you want to have, what you want to be. And when you function from that space, like you said, when you function from fun, from infinite possibilities, things come to you. Because I'm such a hard worker. Well, like I said, because for my projects, usually I send proposals, I write, and all those things. But when I started coming, functioning from fun, functioning from possibilities, I realized that things come to me versus me running after and chasing for things. And that's what I felt access consciousness opened up to for me. Like, what if you're the invitation of possibilities of change, and allow things and your desires to come to you and not after it.
So choosing instead of chasing. I like that.
Yes, choosing instead
Tell
of
us, tell us,
chasing.
tell us more,
And
Karen. All right, because
being
all right, tell us
and
more
being first.
about choosing. Tell us more about choosing, or
Because
how did you get to choose? And now maybe you could walk us through your journey of um, being first and then choosing. How was that for you?
because for the longest time, I haven't really chosen. Like, before, when I was following a very strict spiritual path, but it's really my choice. That was, I take full responsibility for it. I wasn't choosing because everything is set for me. What time I will sleep, what time I will wake up, what I'll eat, what I will wear, everything was set for me. And even choices, like these are the only choices that you can have given this, if since you're following this path. But then when things are so set and so limited like that, I don't consider myself anymore. I don't consider what my body likes. I don't consider what my soul likes. I just function from okay, I'll just follow. And it's so well at that point that's what I require as well. And it's so easy actually. It's so easy to follow everybody else's perspective, everybody else point of view. And and I and I realized at some point that it's not working for me anymore. Like choosing following certain tenets to the dot limits me and I'm not being myself anymore. And that's when I started choosing for myself. And sometimes you just have to be fed up. To be honest, when you choose, that's the end of the story. If you can go back to a point in your life when you're so fed up and you want to change, right? If you can go back to that point in your life, I'm sure all of us have that. When you say ayoko na or pagod na ako. And from that point when you're just fed up and you start choosing differently, things change. And so everything else trumps choice. Like of course there's a lot of healing modalities, a lot of tools, a lot of techniques that you can use to change your life. But the moment you choose, that's it. That's end of story. And for me, the moment when I said, I think I will start choosing myself, what I would like, what I would like to be, what I would like to have, what I would like to do, that changes the whole thing for me. That completely disrupts the small box. I kind of felt like I always talk about this. For a long time, I felt like I was in a small box because I'm only supposed to choose from that small box. But when I said no more, I'm not getting I want more possibilities, I want more opportunities, I want to get out of this box. And that's it. The box just shattered. And so that's the beauty of choice. When you just make that choice, things change. So
And
I
I think
love choice.
I think also I like to go back to being, choosing, and then doing. Not a lot of people would actually recognize that they have a choice. That even when I
Mhm.
with some of my clients, many of them, and with respect, of course, they don't understand that whatever situation they are in, the situation we are all in is actually a product of all our accumulated choices. But then,
True.
what I like about what we're doing is that when we have chosen something that does not yield the result that we like, is that we do not go into wronging ourselves, but instead we ask for more choices to come up. We ask for more possibilities to come up because it used to
Yeah.
be that when I chose something that does not yield the result that I like for my life, then I would wrong myself and blame myself, and I would have all this guilt tripping of myself, self blame, um, and calling myself names that maybe I should have done this. How could I have not foreseen this? But now, when we live in the question, because that's what we are doing, living in the question as access consciousness practitioners, you don't anymore go to the wrongness of you. Instead,
Yes.
you ask questions such as, what is right about this am I not getting? What else
Right,
is
right. I feel the thing with, like you said, some of your clients feel they don't have a choice. But I feel also that some people have expectations. Like they feel that if I choose this, then this happen. And I think it's the expectation that frustrates us. What if you just choose and allow the choice to blossom? Because sometimes a choice doesn't bloom overnight. Yes, it happens that you make a choice and your life changed the very next day. But sometimes you have to give it time. Like sometimes a choice will blossom after 6 months. Sometimes it will blossom after 5 years, 3 years. I feel you have to give don't hold on too much. Sometimes we struggle because when we choose, we're expecting something to happen right away. Just choose, and then let go of expectations as
Keep
well,
choosing,
and that will make it
right?
a lot easier. Yes, a lot easier for you.
And you know,
And
one
I
of
agree
my
with you. Focusing on the results kill the magic. I agree with that.
it kills the magic, right? And I know that we live in this society, and even probably when we were younger and we were all studying in school, our teachers were so results oriented. All right, the educational system is so results oriented. When you work, everything is based on everything. Your performance is based on the results that you're going to produce. But what people don't realize is that you don't necessarily have to focus on the results. You can just keep choosing every moment, right? There
Mhm.
is one tool that we are actually practicing, and it's the power of choosing for every 10-second increments. And that is for me
Yeah.
magical. I think that is what works for me because whenever I find myself looking far ahead, I'm losing the joy in the present moment.
True. Yeah. I completely agree. And again, when you choose what's fun for you. If it's fun for you, you get the result right away.
That's one of my most favorite questions. All right, is it fun for me? I'll
Hmm.
show that. Okay, I'll show that on the screen for everybody to see. Is it fun for me? But well,
Yeah.
people might misinterpret. Okay, what is fun for you here? Or because a lot of people might have an idea that having fun is getting rambunctious probably with your friends. And again, there's no wrongness in that. Okay, if it floats your boat to make noise with your friends, okay, then it's okay. But um, what is fun for you, and what do
For
you
me,
think in other
there we go. Our ADHD working again. We're talking at the same time.
we're both talking at the same time, or the
For
thought is so fast?
yes.
Okay, okay, go.
I play with light and heavy. What's light is usually fun. You just ask, is this light or heavy? And most of the time, what's light is fun.
I'd like to put that on the screen.
Yeah.
All right, I'd like to put this on the screen for everyone to be reminded. Okay, the truth is always light. A lie is always heavy.
Heavy. Yeah.
Right? Is it showing? Yeah, there you go. Is it light for me?
That's a good question you can ask if you're not decided what to choose. And then allow yourself to make mistakes. Both of you, you have a background in theater, right? We also teach students creative theater. And in our classes in creative theater, at least, the students clap every time they make a mistake. They celebrate the mistakes. And sometimes it's what we
Mm.
forget to do here in real life. We actually scold ourselves for making mistakes. So
Or
what if you make a choice and then it's a mistake? Then it's okay. Make another choice.
or what if you deserve a clap for every mistake that you did in the past?
That's true. That's true. Because you know what? A lot of my mistakes actually help me now. I don't know about you, but look at all the mistakes that you've had. Aren't you a better person because of all the mistakes that you made? And so, yeah,
Yeah.
we should, I agree with you, clap for yourselves for every mistake that you've done.
What if people deserve to be given applause? Okay, what if people deserve to be applauded, not just for what the society perceives as their success, but also for what the society perceives as their mistakes or failures?
Yeah, true.
I like those questions. I like those questions. Because I think when we learn, and I'm conducting a training this coming Saturday, and I think I will implement that inside the training. That for each time a person commits a mistake, we laugh. All right, we laugh.
We did that in class.
Clap,
Like
yeah.
it's a 3-month class. in creative theater for our students. And it was difficult at the start because it's so anti-programming. It's so different from how they were programmed.
It's
Like
anti-programming.
initially, when they were doing, diba? When they made a mistake, they were expected to be scolded. So they wouldn't. So it took a while, but after 3 months, it was like it's not just a clap. Every time somebody makes a mistake, it's a celebration, like balloons flying everywhere and people saying
Honestly,
hooray like that, and it's so beautiful. Because in real life and in business, the more mistakes that you have, the more prototypes that you have, the closer you are to succeeding, right? Like Thomas Edison, for example, had thousands and thousands of experiments, and so he had many correct or many good experiments because he had so many failed experiments. So it really helps. The mistakes, making a lot of mistakes, celebrating the mistakes, really allow you to open up to infinite possibilities and open up to living your life in a fun way.
and you know what? I remember my teacher in English. All right, back in college, and we live in a society where a lot of people are scared to speak the language, and that they are there are a lot of humiliations, all right, and judgments surrounding the way we use English language, right? And even now that I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about the judgments that we can receive just by committing grammars, okay, I'm starting to stutter. It's that heavy energy, all right, but I know it's not mine. And the first rule that she said was, okay, just speak it. Second, commit
Right.
mistakes. And third, laugh at your mistakes. Laugh at your mistakes. And I
Yeah.
think that is also very applicable in our real life, all right, in this life, that a lot of us are taught to be humiliated for the mistakes that we have committed, all right? Many
Mm-hmm.
people, maybe we were not taught or directly, but indirectly, we have that conditioning that, okay, if you have committed the mistake, then you're not worth this kind of attention. That maybe you're not supposed to be in this kind of position. All right, if you're a boss or if you are a worker. But I see the beauty in your story where kids are being allowed. No, kids are allowed to clap at themselves and to clap at other people whenever they commit mistakes, not in the spirit of making fun, but in finding fun in the mistake and actually honoring that, hey, I have become vulnerable here. I did it even if I don't know how to do it. And in the process, I made a mistake. And I think that's a show of vulnerability.
True. And I want to point out what you said. I love it when you said, I did it even if I don't know anything. Actually, that's a strength. For a lot of my projects, I did a lot of things without knowing anything. And what's good with that is that I do it differently because I'm not immersed in that industry. So I have a different take on it. And so it's like we did a documentary without me knowing anything about a documentary. And
Or
it was
how to
fun. And
how
we're
to come
able
up
to,
with one. Yeah.
yeah, we did it anyway. Online healing community. We did it without me being immersed in the healing community. It's just because I just felt like, okay, this is something you have to do. Even the NGO I'm with, Special Achievers, nobody has ever done it before. But it's something that I felt I need to do. So what if you can do anything, whatever it is, even if you don't have any background? Just follow the energy.
I like
I
that.
don't know
All
if it
right.
might sound woo for everybody, but you would know if something's calling to you, eh. You would know if there's something that you feel you need to do, something that you need to build. And if you follow the energy, like for example, for the online healing community, people came, right? Like I don't know you from before,
Yeah.
but because I
And
started
there
it,
are a
people
lot
just
of people now.
came.
There are a lot of people now who are a part of the online healing community, and we are all co-contributing. We are contributing to each other and actually creating a much more conscious world. All right, and raising people's level of
True.
awareness how to actually be a healer in a way in their different ways in their with whatever they are practicing. right? And I
Yeah.
particularly, I was reminded that in the past, my belief was I should just focus on doing one thing because that was what
Mm-hmm.
people around me were telling me. All right, that you have to focus on
Right.
this and that. And now I realize that I am not built that way. And you also know, all right. A lot of my friends know that I have ADHD, and now I realize that it's easier for me to function while doing simultaneous projects, right? Doing a lot of
Yes.
things all at the same time. And I saw your post about it when you were on your Facebook account. I saw your post telling us about it. All right, can you tell us more about it? What was the
Yeah, because
what?
people, I agree with you. People always tell me, please focus, please do one thing at a time. The thing is, I get so bored if I'm doing just one thing, and so I end up not doing that one thing at all. I actually like it, like with you, like doing simultaneous things at the same time because it feeds off each other, and because I work fast, my mind thinks fast, and so if it's just one thing, it's really so boring. And so I don't put in a lot of energy in it. So for me, I actually function better if I have 10 things happening
Happening
at
all
the
at the
same
same time?
time. Like right now I'm doing life coaching, but I'm also an access bars facilitator, and I also have an NGO, and I also have online healing community, and I also have collabs with other people, and I also have other projects that's not related to my NGO or not related to online healing community, and I'm also writing. That's how and it's really just embracing that I operate like that. It's more
You're a
fun for
one.
me if
You're a
I'm
one
doing
woman
a
team.
lot of things. No, I
You're a
haven't.
one woman team
That's
of
something I've learned.
special achievers and online healing community
I,
for a
I
long time.
used I used to be a one woman team for a long time, and because I'm hyperactive and because I'm good at multitasking, I can really handle an event seriously just by myself because I can multitask. But now I've learned to create a team because that's a lot easier. So I can do other projects and other things for me. And I feel it's really about honoring yourself. There are people who function best if they're just focusing on one thing and that works for you. So just do it. But for me, I it's so boring. I really can't finish.
We all,
If I only have one thing, I end up procrastinating. So I have to have
I
a
mean,
lot. So I
you
don't
know, and maybe
procrastinate.
ito na naman tayo napapalitan ng ano. Okay, and maybe this is a call, no? Maybe for educators out there, for guardians of children, or even to parents. That what if there's nothing wrong with having ADHD? All right. What if there's nothing wrong with having it, or what if there's nothing wrong with being in the autism spectrum disorder? And psychology, as much as it has helped a lot of people, it is also a limited body of knowledge, and there are a lot of possibilities out there waiting for other people, waiting for children to be explored. I remember talking to one client of mine, and this client has ADHD, and when I told her that, what if ADHD is not your wrongness, and you know what, the conversation changed, and
True.
the child was able to breathe. All right, that is okay
Yeah,
because
yeah.
during this time,
I yeah.
and he studies in this school where there's a brand. If you have ADHD, you have this kind of brand, all right? And I'm glad to be able to help the child because I could really relate to the child for having ADHD and growing up, having people around me telling me that you should do this, you should do that, you should do that, you should have one more focus. And yeah, as you were saying,
I actually specialize in this because I'm an occupational therapist by profession. And actually the conversation now is ADHD is a neurodiversity. You're just wired differently, which makes you no different from other people. It's just that you're wired differently, and it's something that people are going so far as saying that it's a step. in evolution. So right now, they're moving away from ADHD being a disability. It's just you're just wired differently. That's how it is. And I remember I was in an event one time, and I'm the organizer in the event, and one of the sponsors there went, and one side, on the right side, I don't know if you can imagine this. On one side are booths for merchandise. In the middle, there's a stage for a program. On the other side, there's an art exhibit, and outside there are food stalls. And then, and this is an event that I did on my own with just one staff. And then the sponsor said, because the sponsor said that the sponsor knows me personally, and she said, "Oh my gosh, look at how an ADHD functions." Because I that's how I work. I can actually do that's how diverse my mind is. It likes like it's not just like one event. If you look at it, it's not like a stage of the program. Because I function like that, four simultaneous events happening in one event. That's how I function, and people enjoy that. And what if
And
you're just wired
um,
differently? What if you just think differently? What if there's
yeah,
nothing
and
wrong with that?
yes, and I'd like to flash it on the screen. No? Maybe also to put emphasis on it that different is not necessarily wrong. And I think we have been measured by a yardstick, all right, by a single yardstick, and that everybody has to fit into that yardstick. But what if different is not wrong? And I think that changes a conversation that, just like what you have mentioned, now ADHD is actually a form of neurodiversity, and perhaps other what you call that, other mental disorders listed in the DSM, all right, will now be considered not necessarily as a mental disorder, but a mental difference, maybe just a difference in how we are all perceiving energy around us. Because I think that, and it has something to do with energy really when you have ADHD. It's just because you are very perceptive or receptive of the energy around you. And if perhaps you have bipolar disorder, it's perhaps you're so open to perceiving what's ever going on around you, and that you feel depressed when there are a lot of people around you who are depressed, or maybe you feel so happy when people around you are so happy. And so maybe this will change the conversation. What do you think? Where are we with this?
I'm actually I'm actually working with artists with disability. And I feel that, and I asked them this question in a recent exhibit. Like someone with ADHD, I asked her, "How did ADHD help you in your art?" And she said, "Because I have ADHD, I have a lot of ideas for my art, and it's helping me." And then I see artists with autism, and they have very good perceptual skills, which is one of the strengths of autism. And then because they have very good perceptual skills, they create one of a kind art. So what, like you said, what if difference is not wrong? What if it's actually a strength because they look at things differently, because they have many ideas? It's really our
Maybe,
labels, and our point of
maybe
views more than anything.
and maybe instead of calling it a disorder, a disability, maybe you could call it a different order or a different ability, right? Different order, different ability. Anyway, we are burning through a lot of different topics. We started with your journey, and then we now we're talking about psychology, which is fun. Okay, I think it's fun because consciousness has no direction, all right, but there's just so much awareness in it, and I think that's what's going on in our conversation. I mean, what else is possible? How does it get any better than this?
True.
All right. So um, we'll wrap up. All right. So I don't know what to ask anymore. Right. This has been an interesting conversation, and I think that we're off to end on a wonderful note. So what can you say to these people so that they can have more fun in their life?
I love your last question when you ask what else is possible. Because oftentimes we function from conclusion. Like sometimes we say, "Now this is it. This is the best it can ever be." And every time I say that, I notice that I limit myself. I limit what I limit the opportunities, I limit the possibilities. But if you ask, what else is possible? How does it get any better than this? Then something else comes up. Something bigger or brighter or grander comes up. So I guess my question for your questions about how to live a life that's fun is actually just being the question. Always ask, what else is possible? How does it get any better than this? What grand and glorious adventure awaits me? And if you function from questions, you function from possibilities. And then more space, like with your show, more space opens up for you when you function from possibilities.
What grand and glorious adventure awaits me? All right.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you very much for that question. And I think for everybody who's watching, maybe you'd like to take note of this question, maybe post on your wall wherever you can see it, and keep asking that question and allow the question to allow the answer of the question, energetic or cognitively maybe, all right, to embrace you. So again, thank you, Karen, for sharing this question to all of us. What grand and glorious adventure awaits me? Wow, and that me just saying that it opens a lot, and it's 9, and somehow the energy is changing when I ask this kind of question.
Yeah.
Again, what grand and glorious adventure awaits me? So thank you so much, Karen, for joining me here in Spaciousness.
Thank
Again,
you,
let's give
June,
her
for the invite.
a Karen. All right, so thank you so much for tuning in, people. I hope that if this has been a contribution to you, you can share it to a lot of people who can benefit from it. So please remember our question, okay? What grand and glorious adventure awaits all of us, all right? So that maybe we can contribute our joy to this chaotic world, all right? So what if having fun is the purpose of life? What if happiness is merely a choice? Or what if joyfulness is actually our greatest contribution to this humanity? So, again, I'm June. This is Spaciousness. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye, everyone.